Thak from Thak Ironworks. At long last, I am getting back to the backplate. Back to the blackplate. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, it's been almost a year. I think it was last winter that I actually made the breastplate here, and we are now into January of the following year and finally getting to the backplate. 2020 was just a complicated year, enough said. Anyway, so what I've got here is the bronze breastplate. I want to make a corresponding bronze black backplate. I've taken a backplate that I had upstairs actually on my Slayer suit, just to give me a point of reference, something that will fit on there. I'll just throw it on me for reference. So, fits on there like that. This one is kind of short in here, sits kind of high up there, but conforms to my back. So we've got the approximately correct shape to work with. Now when I put it onto the breastplate, I see that there is things that are not meshing up there. This one is a little wasp waist here, a little narrower than I probably will be making this one. So, but it will be, the backplate will certainly be different, but this gives me a pretty good starting point. Putting it up to here, it will be sitting like that. I can see that I'm going to have to lengthen it there, and I'll probably bring the armpit down to correspond with that. I will also lengthen these slightly so I can bring them up and around, but that is more or less where things are going to be. So using this now, I will make a template. All right, so sheet of cardboard here, I am going to make a center line. Thusly. And now, get this thing on. And this is just a slightly awkward little time for me to get things balanced out here and see if I can match. Okay, so pieces cut out. I'm way up here. Here's my foot. What I need to do now is anneal the backplate or the bronze before I can start working on that. Typically I do this in my forge, but today I've got my propane torch set up. I was doing some annealing on some other brass sheets that I'm working on there. So I'm just going to use that and demonstrate it. I'm going to shut up now and anneal. Okay, so that is the first anneal there. Now we're ready to get into the rough forming. So a lot of fatiguing hammering ahead. Here we go. I've decided to continue the motif around the front of the breastplate onto the backplate here, just continuing that around. So I've transcribed that on with Sharpie. I've also hammered out a slight bulge there, and now I've got it clamped down to the table. I'm doing this step first because it's much easier to clamp it to a flat table than try to accommodate for the curvature of the piece as I would begin shaping it. So I'm just going to rough this out now, and then we will move on to the rough shaping of the backplate. Hi! Several hours into the project, and I have just attached the back as it is to the breastplate. So back to the breastplate, and got them clamped in position. I've got them bolted at the top here. You can see where my motif is lining up there. I've just made everything kind of in position now. So now it's just kind of formed together. That is what its finished shape will look like. I probably want to tighten this up a little bit now. But now that they're clamped together, what I want to do is start working this so that it conforms more to this shape. Being held by the breastplate, I now have defined my outer parameter, so I can kind of work with that. Still a lot of sculpting to do back in here, but you get the basic shape is happening. What I'm trying to do is get a little bit in the small of the back there, and then coming up over the shoulders, and we've got these scoops here for the shoulder blades to be able to move in there. The back does not look as detailed as the front by any stretch, but it does need to have the overall curves there. So now the fun begins. All right, so jumping to attachments, I had in mind to do attachments much like the one on this brass breastplate, which I did several years ago. where I had these little tabs with rings and then laces. Aesthetically, I thought that it looked a little busy, although it is period, and I wanted to do something that looked very historically accurate. So I went into my little bin where I had gotten these things. I'd actually made these out of a brass casting. So I had these somewhere, probably about 15 years ago. Someone had given me a bunch of these little brass castings, and I believe they were actually for a toilet seat, the hinge for a toilet seat, oddly enough. And what I end up doing is, you can see where I've sharpied on there, is just cut it down and make it into this little tab for holding the ring. So I've already gone ahead and done it with most of them there, and this is what my end product becomes. We'll just now quick go to the bandsaw and I'll show you the process to do that. All right, several hours have elapsed, and I have shaped the breastplate, got all the edges rolled. I've sharpened up my motif across the back there, and just got everything fitted together. This thing has been bolted together and disassembled a number of times in a number of different annealing stages in order to get this shape. But you can see now it's basically come together here, and I've got the shape where I would like it. And now we're going to talk about fasteners. So, as I said, I had these little tabs, brass tabs in mind here. And I was going to do these with a little ring in there and then have a thong, and then the two would lace together, which I have seen and historically accurate, but not aesthetically. It seems a little bit busy. I wanted it to be a little more streamlined. So in making these things up and placing it together, I actually came up with this. So I'm putting the first one on there, and then I realized maybe I'll just come up kind of like a hinge here, and what I'll do is have a cotter pin that will go in there. I've just got a bolt in there for right now. Don't know if this is historically accurate. Don't really care that much. I have seen this sort of fastening device in Roman armor where you have a cotter pin that goes in and holds it in place. Now I will be making up a probably copper cotter pin. I just couldn't find a heavy enough gauge of wire. I need something probably like a 10 gauge. All I could find was 14. So anyway, for the time being, we'll just use a bolt here. But I think what I'll do is go ahead and get these all positioned in place here. And then we'll be able to get this thing mounted together. Break for lunch. And just get a shot of this just to see how it looks together there. All right, so I've got all my pieces fastened on, and I've just roughly bolted things together here. I think what I'd like to do is a quick test fitting. I don't want to do a full-on reveal. I wanted to wait until I've got the entire hoplite suit done, if that ever happens. But I thought it might be cool to do a little sneak peek of me actually trying this thing on and see how it fits. So I've got pins in the one side here, enough that I can kind of hinge it open and slip in. So I have not fitted this on yet. Let's see how it actually fits. Okay, so that goes into place there. And if I'll get my cameraman to stop for a second and maybe slip a pin in here, then we can show you what's going on. Okay, so we slipped one pin in the side there. I've got it on. I'm feeling pretty good. It's a tight fit, nice and snug, but at the same time, I can move around. I've got quite a bit of mobility, so I think it might work. I'm actually in the middle of my winter bulking phase, so I'm about, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds heavier than I'd like to be, so I'm a little thicker around the middle there, but I still was able to wedge in here, and I think I've got a little room to shrink down and it will fit perfectly. So anyway, let's get to the finishing stage. Okay, so I have a cuirass. It is complete, more or less. And there it is. I think it's looking very nice. I'm quite pleased with the overall effect of how that all came together. Really nice shape to that. I like how the back plate has that nice swoop in it there. Not sure if you're picking that up, but I'm just very pleased with how it's coming along. So next is the Greaves. Thank you so much for your patience on this. I know this whole hoplite kit is taking forever, a couple of years into the process. I am planning on getting the rest of it all done in the next 6 months, so you can try to hold me to that. So that's it for right now. Please comment below. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Support us on Patreon. It helps us make these videos. All that stuff. We will see you next time making Greaves. Back out. See ya!